So we record it also, and you can. Do I have to do something?
No. I just please ask the host to give you permission to record.
You have permission. Do I have to do something here on this end?
Yeah, but it still doesn't allow me.
All right. Well, we're recording it. I'll make sure you get it.
I think it's recording. I think it's
recording. We're recording it. Okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Let me just something here. Thank you so much, Dr. William, for inviting me to your meeting and your wonderful introduction. As we all know, we have been dealing with forever a topic, the pandemic situation, since the last 18 months. And we all have been talking about the immune system, immunity, viral infection, and all related topics. Since the pandemic started, actually my talk today is not about pandemic, it's generally speaking about two different immunities. But since the pandemic started, I wrote several articles, had several talk shows to share my medical views, my personal views on the underlying causes of disease, process and evolution of disease, immune system as a whole, and also sub-immune system and different ways of immunization. They're all posted on my social media on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I've been treating my patients, people, my family, myself, with my immunization protocols for more than 2 decades before all this chaos pandemic started and all this vaccine drama came along. And today I'd like to talk, to have a brief overview on the above topics, comparing the natural immunity with the homeopathic no-sodes, sarcodes, and homotoxicology versus artificial vaccination that we all are aware of. And also explaining my treatment approach and immunization protocols at the end. In order to fully understand my approach, my methodology, and natural immune system, natural immunity, I have to explain the immune system structures, function as a whole, and also the 2 main subsystems and their functions and their structure and how the way that they function differently, but on the other hand, they coordinate to work together as one unit. As we all know, our immune system is our defense department. It's so sophisticated system, is naturally designed and programmed to defend and protect us like an army against pathogenic microorganisms, against all internal, external toxins, and all environmental aggressions. Immune system contains a vast network of cells, tissues, and they're constantly looking for invaders and foreign materials to repel, attack, and kill. This is something that's designed by nature. As soon as an enemy is spotted, our immune system mounts a complex immunological response to fight it off quickly. That's why our immune system should always remain active, vigilant, intelligent, to keep us survived at all times. Otherwise, in no time we can be eaten by germs, even the germs that we have them inside our body. So that's why the immune system, like any other system, has to be well nourished, detoxified, supported, and energized at all times. Our immune system is intelligently distinguished our own cells and our own tissues, which is called self, from different foreign materials, which is called non-self or antigen. So antigen is antibody generator. These antigens or non-selves are germs, as I mentioned earlier, toxins, and even food particles that can cause allergic reaction in the body. Antigen generally is a specific protein on the surface of microorganisms such as bacteria, fungi, and viruses. They're not the actual microorganism, the protein that is surfacing them. When these antigens attach the special receptors in our immune system cells, a whole series of complex immune responses are triggered in the body. We are not aware of this immune responses most of the time, but our immune system is constantly, every single moment is working to do this in order to keep us alive. When the body has come into contact with the pathogen for the first time, it usually stores information about the germ itself and also the way it's fighted off for the future contact, possible contact. And everything is going to be documented and saved as information in our immune system. Nothing's going to be erased. That's why we can acquire immunity through our lives. Then if it comes in contact with the same germ again in later life, our immune system recognizes it right away, the way that fights it off, the way that what kind of protein it's on the surface, and quickly in no time it's going to attack it and kill it. We have 3 types of immunity. Everybody has these 3 types of immunity. Very quickly, I can talk about passive immunity or borrowed immunity, that like during the baby, before birth is receiving it from mother through placenta, and also after birth through breastfeeding. But it's just for a couple of years can give immunity to the child, but it's not indefinite. So, but the same baby is born with innate immune system, but it has to gradually develop as well. So there is innate immunity or non-specific, adaptive immunity or acquired, and passive immunity or borrowed that I mentioned. So innate immune system. Generally, immune system has 2 main subsystems. One is called innate immune system, and the other one is called adaptive immune system. Innate immune system is our first line of defense. We are born with some level of immunity to invaders from day one, and it develops as we grow older. External barriers or our borders, I always compare our body to a country, that we have a border, and this border always has to be closed and always has to be protected by soldiers. These soldiers on the border of our bodies are our leukocytes or our white blood cells. But what are these borders? The skin, the largest organ in the human body, and the largest innate immunity on the skin. It's the biggest border we have. Mucous membranes of respiratory system, it's a huge, big, strong border. Throat, ENT, epithelial tissues of digestive system, and genitalia. This sub-immune system triggers general and non-specific immune response by creating local inflammation, such as redness, swelling, fever, runny nose, rash, diarrhea, and those kind of symptoms. This inflammatory process that is created by immune response of innate immune system is our survival. This inflammatory process should never ever be suppressed by suppressive medications, because we are shutting up the immune responses by innate immunity. These white blood cells, that I call them our soldiers, are all lined up, all arranged by nature to protect us and so keep us survive and do not allow any invaders to get into our borders, which is skin, epithelial tissues of digestive system, respiratory system. These are all ready to die for us. These are all located on the first line of defense, which is innate immune system. So as soon as invaders getting closer to our body, the innate immune system is going to recognize them. it's like miracle that's the nature gave us this sophisticated sub-immune system, which is innate immune system, that they know everything by heart. They don't have to learn or adapt it like other sub-immune system. They know everything by heart. They exactly know these are non-cells, and immediately they're going to repel it, attack it, and they kill it. So how do they do this? With all this inflammatory process, by creating redness, swelling. For example, if you're stung by a bee, as soon as you stung, there is a swelling and redness happens on the spot in order the toxin doesn't get into your system. That's how inflammatory process is. The same thing with excretion, like runny nose. As soon as a pathogen gets into the ENT, innate immune system recognizes it and creates some excretion, such as runny nose. Or if it gets into the digestive system, immediately it creates some sort of elimination, such as diarrhea, in order to just eliminate it. These are all our survival by innate immune system. So these immunological responses, as I said, they should never be suppressed, but actually they should be encouraged and supported all the time. If you suppress them, you're shutting up the first line of defense responses, and we lose our first line protection. So as soon as a germ gets into the borderlines, innate immune system, as I said, is create an inflammatory process such as fever. That's why I always teach my patients, please do not suppress the fever of your child, because fever is your child's survival. It's the innate immune system creates this high temperature in order to kill the majority of pathogen at once. For the first 2 hours, do not do anything, just encourage it actually. What we do in homeopathy, we do it with some sort of remedies such as belladonna and aconitum in order to encourage the temperature, encourage fever, but no damaging to the child or to anybody. So that's why the first line of defense, the innate immune system, is so important to be vigilant, to be intelligent, to be intact, supported at all times. So it has a crucial, very crucial role in protecting us and defending us. And like any other system in the body, it has to be well nourished, has to be well detoxified, it has to be well energized and stimulated, activated all the time. Because imagine a country without an army, a country without a border, what's going to happen? These days we are hearing so much about the United States that the border is open, see the chaos happens. They work like border patrols for us. This innate immune system, leukocyte, white blood cells work like patrols for us. Every single moment they're patrolling and detecting any invaders, for any invaders to repel and attack and not allow them to get in. So they know everything by heart. The nature designed it to do that. So the beauty, the great thing about this innate immune system is they don't need to learn anything. They know everything by heart and they don't need to memorize anything. And anytime any invader that it's recognized as non-self, they know by heart and they're gonna attack it. So there is a natural communication. But the innate immune system, it's the first line of defense. It's a huge protection and are actually the main defense system. But there is another subsystem that they're always communicating with each other, and it's called adaptive immune system that I'm going to get there soon. So there is a natural communication between these two subsystems. If the innate immune system, for some reason, has hard time to attack the pathogens, and pathogens manage to evade by a sudden shift of position and just try to get into the border, the innate immune system quickly rings the bell and sends a message to the second line of defense, the adaptive immune system, to recognize the pathogen as non-self. Because adaptive immune system, which vaccination works on, they need time to learn. They need time to kind of make a diagnosis to understand this is non-self. But when innate immune system sent a message to adaptive immune system to mark it as non-self, then the learning and adaptive process is going to be faster. So this is so sophisticated. This communication is such a natural and sophisticated communication skills. As soon as a pathogen is spotted in adaptive immune system, which is the second line of defense, the antibody gets involved. So when it gets to the second line of defense, as I said, the cells of the adaptive immune system has to understand it, have to figure out exactly that they are self or non-self. They need time. They need time to learn it and adapt it. So, but as soon as they distinguish, as soon as they recognize it as non-self, they create antibody against the antigen. Adaptive immune system has to memorize things. It is not like innate immune system that they know everything by heart. This subsystem has to learn and adapt. And that's how it develops as we go through our lives by getting exposed to different pathogens, germs. And this subsystem always builds up a documented information of antibodies and countless different pathogens naturally. So that's why our immune system always remembers the previous germs. And that's why this adaptive immune system is called immunological memory. So the memory of every single pathogen that is been attacked by antibody on the second line of defense is going to be stored, documented, and it's going to be memorized by adaptive immune system. So now we know the innate immune system and adaptive immune system. So which one we can do immunity that it's much faster, easier, natural way of being immunized against pathogens. Innate immune system, which is the first line of defense, is attacking every single pathogens, doesn't want to know and doesn't know it's virus, bacteria, fungus, or whatever. It's going to attack every single non-self. But adaptive immune system is only attacking one, either a virus or bacteria, because antibody is attacking only one antigen at the time. And there is no way that adaptive immune system can do two at the same time. That's a huge problem. If we ignore the innate immunity, that's a problem. So adaptive immune system, as I mentioned earlier, is always learning and adapting. That's why the body can also fight bacteria or viruses that mutate over time. Our immune system fights with old ones and the new ones. So our immune system is a sophisticated system and knows how to function according to the way it is programmed by nature. Therefore, we must activate, boost, support, nourish, detoxify, fortify, and strengthen our immune system to function correctly and intelligently at all times. So I can get into the white blood cells. So I think I mentioned earlier about white blood cells that they call leukocytes, but innate immune system has its own leukocytes, and adaptive immune system has its own leukocytes or white blood cells. They have They are different in shapes, they are different in locations, they are different in functions, but they are coordinating and communicating with each other. So and all of them, they're patrolling all the time to recognize any invaders to get into our system. So I can, maybe I can share sorry, I can share a screen with you guys here.
There you go. You should have, we have it. If you go to the slideshow at the top.
Do you see my screen?
Yes. Yes, we do.
Okay, okay, awesome. So let me just find my slide, the right one. Okay. Okay. You see it?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, immune system, the two sub-immune systems, they have different white blood cells and they have different functions, actually. The only thing that makes that one unit of immune system is mostly the coordination and communication, but otherwise they do different jobs. And as you can see in this slide, so the blue circle is innate immune system, and the yellow one is adaptive immune system. But there are some leukocytes or white blood cells in the middle that they're always trying to communicate with each other with these two subsystems. This white blood cells on the innate immune system are much larger, and they're different in shape, because these white blood cells' job is to recognize, to repel, to attack, to kill, and to eat them up. And they die with them too. So our soldiers, our white blood cells, they die for us. So they attack the pathogens, and they die with them too. So one of the example is the pus. Like if there is any wound, you know, on the skin, and you see the white or yellow kind of material, these are all our white blood cells that they die in order to protect us. So the white blood cells and the innate immunity, they're called phagocytes, and then naturally they crush and they eat and they kill all the white blood cells. And they're different, such as neutrophil, basophil, eosinophil, natural killer cell, monocytes, macrophages, and mast cells. But adaptive immune system, there are only two kinds. We call them lymphocytes, and these lymphocytes are B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. These lymphocytes are made in bone marrow, and some they remain in bone marrow and they become B lymphocytes. The B lymphocytes are the ones that create antibodies. But some of them, they move, they travel, and they go to thymus, and they become T lymphocyte or T cells. And these T cells, actually, they are the killers. So in the adaptive immune system, these are the killers. So antibodies or B lymphocytes do not kill any microorganism. They just mark them for death. The way that they do it is B cells or antibody, so that they create antibody. Antibody does not kill any microorganism. It's just kind of lock onto the antigen or like to the protein on the surface of the germ or microorganism, and they mark it for killing, and they send it to T cell, and T cell going to take care of it. So I just want to go to the second slide. Okay, we have lymphoid organs. As the reason that I show this slide is because one of my protocol is all about sarcode treatments, because these lymphoid organs are the organs that all the white blood cells are stored. So these organs need to be always nourished well, energized and detoxified and been taken care of. So the sarcode that I use, all these all organs are part of that sarcode. So I think I don't need to talk about the immunoglobulins, because I briefly mentioned about B cells. As I mentioned, B cells are the most important cells in adaptive immune system, because these are the ones that they can make antibodies against antigen. But the B cells, if there is one virus going to the adaptive immune system, only dealing with one virus. They cannot do anything else. They have to wait until they take care of that virus and then go to the next one. So that's why innate immune system is our most important subsystem that it has to be taken care of. My protocol and my approach of immunity works on innate immune system, not adaptive immune system. That's a difference between these two immunity. So as we know that antibodies are a family of immunoglobulins, and I don't have to talk about each one of them, but we have 5 different antibodies in the family, and they're all having different functions. So this one shows the communication and coordination between the innate immune system and adaptive immune system. If there is no communication, everything is, finished. The problem with vaccination shuts up the vital pathway of communication between these two immune systems. The reason is, innate immune system is the first line of defense, always is vigilant, is always trying to recognize. These are like a arranged soldiers on a first line of defense. But with the vaccination, these soldiers, these white blood cells, that they are always patrolling to recognize the non-self, not allow anything into our system, they are always facing the invaders. They're always facing the border to see everything, to recognize everything. But with the vaccination, the germs or the antigens or the spike protein, whatever, without informing this innate immune system, without informing this white blood cells, it directly goes to the second line of defense, the adaptive immune system, and is triggering the complex, very complex immune response of making antibody against antigen. And these white blood cells, that they are not informed about the attack, they're not, they haven't seen anything, but they, because of the communication between these two subsystems, they know there is a chaotic situation inside, and instead of facing the invaders on border, they kind of arrange reverse, like they're facing the inside, they're facing the adaptive immune system, which is the chaos happening. So that's the main issue, the main problem with vaccination, because vaccination is causing a shock, a huge, sudden, acute shock to the immune system. So let me just get into the natural innate immunity a little bit. Natural innate immunity, which my approach, my treatment protocol is, works only on innate immune system. We do not need antibody. Antibody should be made, should be produced naturally through life when we expose to the pathogens that innate immune system cannot take care of it. And as I mentioned earlier, innate immune system always is in communication with adaptive immune system. It's going to inform adaptive immune system that there is something coming in. That's the way that antibody should be produced, not with the shocking way of vaccination. So natural immunity, it works on the innate immune system, activates the innate immune system cells, triggers a general immunity responses, is going to take care of all kinds of pathogens at the border, at the innate immune system, which is skin and all those that I mentioned, without exception. So again, it doesn't need time, you know, to do so, because when it goes, even naturally, when it goes to adaptive immune system, it needs time to learn and adapt. But with natural immunity, we don't know, they don't need time because they know it by heart. So this natural immunity is, as I said, is natural, safe, gentle, effective, and long-lasting. No antibody requires, and very easy to take, like Sarcode or nosodes or homotoxicology. Everything is taken under capillaries under the tongue, is sublingually. There is no injection involved, and that's why it's very safe and is gentle and gradual, and is not like a shock by vaccination. So artificial vaccination, it's, as I mentioned, it directly goes to the adaptive immune system and causes a chaos there. And the problem with the vaccination is not only that gives a huge shock to the immune system, it just needs time, sometimes 21 days to 28 days in order to recognize it as a self or non-self and to create antibodies. That's why during this period of time, anything can attack the body. Any pathogens can attack the body, because practically we have no protection. No protection, because innate immune system is inactive, is dormant, is not informed about the attack. It doesn't do it, cannot do anything, and it's going to be the kind of reverse arrangement. And on the other hand, adaptive immune system needs time to learn and adapt, which is some 21 days to 28 days. So at this point, anything can get into the system, anything can get into the body. That's a problem. That's why, as I don't know if some of you have heard, I hear it every day, that the percentage of vaccinated people are having recurrent infections. Even vaccinated people in the beginning, 10 days or 15 days after vaccination, they were tested positive, because they're very susceptible, very prone to be reinfected. And that's a problem. So the consequence is enemy is already in without being detected, spotted, and fought by the innate immune system. The communication is being shut down, and the innate immune system, the phagocytes, white blood cells, are inactive, dormant, and there is no surveillance, and there is no detectors. There is confusion, such a huge confusion in the immune system. And as I mentioned, it's getting worse if, unfortunately, sometimes they cannot do much personally with conventional vaccination, childhood vaccination. I could help, people a lot. But with this vaccination, because it's very experimental, personally, I don't know if there is any treatment. We have to wait until see if they manifest any symptoms in the future. But at this point, nothing we can do for them. So, guys, are you okay if I continue, or you want me to go to my treatment?
It's going great what you're doing, so however you want to do it.
We are going on a break?
No, I said you are doing great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Whatever you want to share, it's all good.
Okay. So the reason that I want to talk about DNA, because the problem is all about DNA mutation, and DNA is hacked, and the cells is hijacked by the virus or by pathogen. The reason is the human body is a tank of nutrients. The earth body has 92 essential nutrients that it has to be replenished. It has to be supported by these nutrients on a daily basis. 60 out of 92 essential nutrients are minerals. It means 2/3 of nutrients are minerals. Minerals are very crucial and important in immunization. The reason that I brought it up, because it's very, very important in DNA health. And if the DNA is not intact, it easily can be hacked by a virus or by any pathogens. So the reason is, if you look at this, the helix of the DNA, you can see the 2 long strands of polysaccharides on the side, and there are 2 steps of amino acid in the middle, and they makes it like a ladder. And these 2 strands of polysaccharides and the steps of amino acids are glued by minerals. If there is any mineral deficiencies at anybody at the cellular level, so this DNA is so weak and it can be hacked easily by a virus or pathogens. So as I always talk about my underlying causes of disease, I have a trinity, I created it, I have it in my book, that every single disease or conditions starts at the cellular level. So that's why the gate of the cells and the DNA should be intact. But what caused the cell to become weak and DNA become so weak and fragile? It's chronic cellular deficiency, chronic cellular intoxication, and chronic inadequate cellular energy flow. These 3 things applies to every single disease. I'm not going to get into the disease evolution because they're it's going to be lengthy. So now here we are talking about homeopathy versus allopathy. So with homeopathy, what I do the innate immunity, natural innate immunity by no-salt, Sarcode, which are homeopathic remedies, and homotoxicology, also it's a version of homeopathic medicine. We work on the white blood cells, the first line of defense, to be more vigilant, to be more intelligent, to be supported. But on allopathic, the way we know, the work with vaccination, which is very artificial and is problematic. So before I get into my treatment, I want to talk about why I choose. Where is my notes? So it's okay. In nature, we have a triad. We have like a association of microbes. We call it microbial association. One is bacteria, one is virus, and one is fungal. Viruses in nature always are under the control. The ratio and proliferation of viruses are under control of bacteria and fungus. So when this ratio is being disturbed by use or consumption of frequent antibiotics, consumption of suppressive medication, cortisone, flu shots, or vaccination, this association, this microbial association ratio is being disturbed. That's why viruses can flourish. So that's a problem with all this happening in the world, because people of the past 100 years, people have been drugged up by so many antibiotics, suppressive medication, cortisone, flu shots, and all those vaccinations. So what do we have to do now to make it right? To do it right is we have to use the nosodes for 3 different pathogens, for bacteria, for virus, and for fungus. So I want to get into my immunization protocols. My immunization protocols, the duration of the immunization is 3 months practically. First 6 weeks is the actual immunization. The second 6 weeks is detoxifications. It's a general detoxifications. The first six weeks, what I use Thuja occidentalis, either in a form of single remedy or in a form of complex. I would explain it later. I use immune booster sarcode. I use bacterial nosode, viral nosode, fungal nosode, and homeopathic minerals, trace minerals, and chemotherapy. The second 6 weeks, which is the general detoxification, is a liver and hepatic detoxification, renal and kidney detoxification, blood and lymphatic detoxifications. Why do I use Thuja occidentalis? The reason is I want to get the immune system out of suppression. The immune system of majority of people are suppressed or compromised. With this remedy, we bring it back, because a lot of suppressed bacterial infection, a lot of suppressed viral infection, suppression due to vaccination, the majority have this problem. So with this remedy, we bring the immune system out of suppression. Either I use single or I use complex. When I use complex, definitely I have to match one complex to the picture of the patient. I cannot use just randomly, because this has to be designed for a person. So with a single remedy, it's much easier. It can be applied to everybody, but with different potency and different dosage and different duration. But the remedy is the same, but the complexes has to be selected according to the patient. So the reason that I use a sarcode, you can, I chose this sarcode because I've been using it for over 20 years, but there are many different ones that, you know, manufacturers making them. They are absolutely fine as well, but because I'm much familiar with this line, I've been using them for, as I said, for decades, so it's much easier for me to explain it. The reason that I use sarcode, because the lymphoid organs that they produce and they store the white blood cells, they have to be stimulated as well, supported and energized. One of them is thymus, spleen, bone marrow, lymph nodes, and Peyer's patches. So if you look at the ingredients of this particular sarcode, you see that it has all the tissue organs. Sarcodes is organotherapy. The preparation is from the healthy tissues, but the principles behind it is based on homeopathic principles. So it's diluted and potentized. It means there is no any original remnants in the complex, in the final preparation, and only the energetic and information of the actual tissue is in the preparation. So it's a whole different subject if I want to talk about it, because the homeopathy is based on quantum physics. We have to know quantum physics in order to understand this principle, but it's a science behind it. It's a scientific approach, but again, there is no actual substance in the remedy. So as we can see, there are all the spleen, lymphatic nodes, the pharyngeal tonsils, bone marrow, thymus is in this sarcode in order to activate the lymphoid organs. This is something that we must include our protocol, immunization protocol. So bacterial nosode, again, is prepared according to homeopathic principles, no remnant left, but it contains the informations of some bacteria such as botulinum, pneumococcinum, proteus, pseudomonas, salmonella, scarlatinum, staphylococcinum, streptococcinum, tuberculinum, and all those. This activates macrophagic activity on the innate immune system, and also increasing a spleen blood supply. And as we know, spleen is storing our white blood cells. So this bacterial nosode is very vital in our immunity protocol. So there is another one, the viral nosode. And this viral nosode has the RNA virus in it, but they're all diluted and potentized in a D30, D60, and D200. So there is no remnant left. It has diphtherinum, it has Epstein-Barr, herpes simplex, herpes zoster, influenzinum, mononucleosis, morbillinum, and poliovirus. So it stimulates innate immune system. I have to mention that none of them is vaccination. So make sure that I said it. None of them is vaccination. So another one is fungus nosode, and it is prepared from fungus such as Candida albicans, chlamydia, penicillinum, Tecuma, ignatia, and zincum. Actually, Tecuma, ignatia, and zincum metallicum are not fungus. They are like a homeopathic preparation, but they're not fungus. Only the first 4 of them are fungus. This particular preparation in a nosode trial administered to some participants, and 30 minutes later, the blood was retaken and the white blood cells efficacy remeasured. In all cases, the white blood cells were 25 to 30% faster and more efficient in the destruction of the fungal cells. So the reason that I use this in order to make this activity much faster. But when it comes to fungus nosode, I keep it optional when I teach it. If you have the bacterial nosode, I think is enough, but I use it time to time according to the case, because you have to be very well trained if you want to use both of them at the same time. So if you have bacterial, I think it's enough, but fungus also, it's needed for some cases. So there are nosodes, you can find them anywhere, like many suppliers, they they have these preparations. They're mainly prepared in Europe. I don't know in United States, but I think you can easily find them in some suppliers. So they're in different forms, form of drops, form of pellets, form of tablets. I personally use in a form of drops because it's much easier. So as I mentioned earlier, in order to keep the DNA intact and healthy, we have to use minerals, not only during the immunization, all the time, but during the immunization is very crucial to use the minerals. I use homeopathic minerals or Schussler salts. I use ferrum phos, kali salt for general oxygenations because we need oxygenation during the immunization to the full extent, actually. But if the person has been in contact with virus or has a history of viral infection, I would add calcareous sulfuric and kali muriaticum to the minerals as well. But the first two, ferrum phos and kali salt, I give it to everyone. The second ones, calcareous sulfuric and kali muriaticum, according to the case. For the DNA, to make the DNA strong, the structure of DNA strong, I add magnesium, zinc, and selenium in a form of oligo or trace minerals. I never use prescribe or recommend minerals in a mega doses, always in a nano dose and always in a form of trace minerals or homeopathic minerals. I use gemotherapy for the drainage because during the immunization, we should do the cellular drainage if there is any toxins in the cells to be eliminated. So I used Acer campestris, Ribes nigrum, Juglans regia, Rosa canina, but I choose 2 of them according to the case. I'm mentioning 4 of them because these are the main 4 remedies for the drainage during immunization, but I always choose 2. This is the immunization protocol that I use. So first is Tuya, then is Sarcode, then is Nosut, and then minerals and the gemotherapy. The 6 weeks is finished. Then I get into the general detoxification for 21 days. The first one is hepatic and liver detoxification. There are many numbers. I use UNDA. There are many numbers, but again, I have to select only one according to the patient, according to the person. So I choose one and I ask them either to use it in conjunction with the kidney and blood detoxification during the day, or just the first week liver drainage, second week kidney drainage, and third week blood and lymphatic drainage. So the second one is renal system or kidney detox. Again, there are many remedies, many numbers. I choose one, the best suited one to the picture of the person. And I ask them to, again, have it for either 1 week, 3 times a day, or for 21 days, just once a day. And the last one is blood and lymphatic detox. Again, there's some complexes here, and I choose one according to the patient. So, and also nutrition and lifestyle is a big deal at all times. It's not only during immunization, but I always, try to educate people that, try to avoid unnecessary stresses, try to simplify your life, try to well nourish yourself essentially. So, and do the detoxification on a regular basis, try to bring your emotions and, under control, and have enough activities and adequate quality sleep, and spirituality as well. I am an Orthodox Buddhist, things that helps me through my life. It's like medicine for me. And I always try to teach it to the others that spirituality really, really can be replace medicine sometimes. Thank you so much for your attention. I know it was long, but I think I finished, and I'm open to questions if anybody has a question.
Right on time. So, anybody have any questions?
I think, Dr. William, you left.
I did.
You left.
No, I'm here. Here I am.
Okay.
I'm still here.
Okay.
I'm still
Okay.
here.
Let me just unshare. Sorry.
Okay, there we go. So anybody have any questions for Dr. Zarrin? We got all that down.
Yeah, one question, can she come back sometime and teach us more?
So I try to, this is a 10 hours course. I try to just squeeze it to 1 hour.
We're a very smart group, so we can pick up most of it. So,
The main thing is now what's the difference between innate immunity and adaptive immunity. So in a natural domain, we do not go directly to the adaptive immunity. It's not our job to do so. And we don't want to shock our immune system. But the thing is, innate immunity works so well. So far, I have seen like awesome results with no-salt sarcodes, and the way I've been doing it for over 20 years. It's not just because of pandemic. Mm-hmm. But before I used to recommend it once a year for everyone. But during pandemic, I recommend it every 4 months to maintain. So, but again, cases are different. Sometimes I have patients that I keep them on the immunization just once a day, to maintain the result. Mm-hmm. Because they had a lot of suppressions. They had, autoimmune disease before, and they had compromised immune system. They had a history of cancer or all those things. I don't get them off, but the dosage and it's very low. Sometimes I ask them to just take, once a week. It depends. I don't have a prepared already prescription for everybody. No, I have to design it according to their immunity and history, the medical history as well.
Right. Okay, that makes perfect sense. So
I think we're getting a different perspective here. If we think some of the smart immunization specialists from Europe were horrified of the damage that might be created to the innate immune system because of our American pretend immunity or vaccination system. But the word innate, how many times have we heard in the news in the last year, one time the word innate? It's rather important. That's what keeps us alive. So thanks for showing us the distinction. It's a big deal.
I have a question. Do you have to take any tests, any blood tests or anything or do you just determine it from the patient's history? Period. How do you go about?
No, we don't need any tests. We don't need any blood tests. But I usually take the case, and sometimes it takes 3 hours to take the
Sure.
case. But if there is anything missing, and sometimes something that is a little bit confusing, or sometimes, you know, it's a little bit hard to diagnose. Actually, we don't do any diagnosis, but I mean, too hard to understand the case. I have a device. It's biofeedback. It's a biofeedback device, works at the quantum physics.
Sure.
So yes, then I can, you know, it gives us everything, you know, from top to bottom. All then it's like confirmation, and if something is missing in due to the patients didn't remember, I couldn't explain it well, or something like that. So that device is going to help me to understand the case, and according to that, I designed the immunization protocol for them. Immunization protocol is different for every individual. The remedies are the same. The remedies are the same, but the potencies, frequencies, and the duration and repetition is different for each individual.
But I am assuming you can more or less, from experience and maybe your own innate abilities, just read patients and get better and better at it as you go. You read their energy, you read.
Absolutely, absolutely. Observation is key. When we observe the patient, we understand the level of their energy, the level of deficiencies, because the skin gives me the level of deficiency, and the eyes gives me the level of the toxication.
Right.
But again, you have to be accurate, you know.
Yes.
I don't make my case on assumption, so I have to be accurate. So, but the majority of cases, because actually maybe 60% of my patients are all over the world, you know, they're everywhere. So that's hard for them to come to see me. But you know, I see them online. But the thing is, I cannot do biofeedback scan on them. You know what I mean? But I try to be a little bit, you know, more kind of detail-oriented with them to really understand.
Well, with globalization and airplanes flying over the whole world, and we're getting a lot of the same toxins worldwide. And so I suppose there's some kind of general thing that's going on everywhere that helps with diagnosing, or not diagnosing, but reading what you're seeing and hearing.
Yes. Yeah, that's how homeopath does, right? And
Yes.
200 years ago, there were no kind of
Absolutely.
devices. So we just have to understand the person. The main thing is that we have to understand the person at the physical, emotional, mental, and energy level, and we put them together, and then that person is completely understood. So I cannot understand the person only on chemistry. That's why blood test doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't mean anything to me.
Sure.
Because the chemistry is changing from morning to the afternoon, from afternoon to the evening, and from night to the morning. The chemistry keeps changing.
Yeah.
So, but
everything influences it.
That's why the blood test doesn't, you know, is not a solid proof that what's going on in the body. And the main problem with the chemistry is the allopathic approach is the chemicals, such as anything like amino acids or nutrients that the body is surviving of, right? They have to get to the bottom of the tank in order to show in the blood test. The bottom, it has to go to the bottom, it shows. Like iron has to go to the bottom. Like zinc or selenium has to go to the bottom. That's what it doesn't show. But with quantum physics, it shows as soon as there is any disturbance. Like this. The patient comes to me and say, I have this symptoms, that symptoms. And then before I do the test, before I do the biofeedback test on them, I say, but these are all the signs of manifestation of anemia. So that's simple to understand that you're anemic. Say, but my doctor said I am not anemic. I said, that doctor and they show me the test and say the test shows that iron is okay. I said, but the iron has to get to the bottom in order to show to your test. Feedback scan on them, it shows iron low.
Yeah, can I ask what machine you're using for bioscan?
It's biofeedback scan.
That's the name of the machine?
Yes, it's a magnetic biofeedback scan. It's 99.7% accurate, and it immediately shows even the pH level. I do it a lot for pH level, and the toxication and the heavy metal that we have in our system, everything, and the function of all the organs.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's 1 minute, and you just take an electric rod and 1 minute, 60 seconds, and shows everything. That's how quantum physics works, you know.
And this could be done, I believe this could be done over the internet or with a cell phone transmitter.
I am trying to, because I have patients, I have many patients, I can say many patients in Europe. And in United States, I used to bring my machine to United States. I had many patients in Texas, in Minnesota, in California. I used to bring the machine and test them. But now with all this situation, traveling is banned, a lot of rules, regulations, and everything. But for the Europe, I always wanted to find a way, if I can do it through, you know, online or through my computer. I haven't found any way so far. If you can find a way for me, would be appreciated.
Well, there's one company that might help that does that now, and that's why I thought you might use their machine. It's called Zyto, ZYTO. You know, everything I know about it now, and it has a hand mitt that you can fit in and can be transmitted over the internet. So they don't have to come to you 1,000 miles to be read.
Is Zyto still?
That's perfect.
Has Zyto improved their technology? Because when I used it 10 years ago, it was horrible.
Yeah, I don't know who's who, but at least they were using the internet transfer technology. And that's why I was asking, what do you use? Because I became associated with some of these machines about 35 years ago in Europe. The Germans were so advanced and they had ideas that were phenomenal, but I haven't kept up with the machines.
But this machine works at the quantum level, like at the energy level.
That's wonderful. And it's called biofeedback scan.
Okay, that's what we do. So that's what we do. But I don't. That would be awesome if I can. You can send me more information, because it's helping patients, you know, overseas.
We'll find out. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Any other questions?
Yeah, Dr. Zarrin.
Yes,
do you have access to ivermectin up there, and do you know if any doctors using it?
What? Sorry.
Ivermectin.
What is it?
We're having a lot of, I believe it's a parasitical medicine, and we're using it a lot down here for COVID.
It's a homeopathic preparation?
No. It's regular medicine.
It's allopathic medication. I have no information on allopathic, nothing. Believe me, it's been 25 years that I did not touch any allopathic medication. I have no idea. And
that's awesome. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Yes, so I've been using homeopathy. I raised my kids with homeopathy, and thank God. So, but if you want me to tell you, to give you the replacement, like in homeopathy for parasites, right? That's what you said?
That's what it's used for. And I know you've got your fungus process, so I believe it would be the same system, correct?
Parasites is different.
Yeah.
Parasites are different. We have different remedy for parasites.
Okay.
But I have 2 bottles in my house. It's not that we have parasites, but sometimes time to time, because we don't know that the vegetables and sometimes they have parasites. So I always ask my son to go on it when he goes to university. I say just take it with you. To be on it for a week, time to time. It's very safe. If there is no parasite, doesn't do anything. If there's parasite, they're gonna be gone. So that's how I do it. But yes, I'm willing to help you if you want to. You guys, you're not supposed to be on allopathic medications. Dr. William.
Yes.
I don't know how to stop recording because.
I'm recording it.
Oh.
Okay, so I will make sure you get a copy of it. Okay, probably tomorrow.
Okay, so the recording is with you. So,
Yeah.
but the thing is, this part of the communication shouldn't be in recording if I want to post it. But
I will send it to you and you'll be able to cut it out. Or if you want me to stop it, I can stop it now.